Good day everyone. All I can say is bountiful cause, because the latest Hyakunin Iki event, as you can see on screen, gives you a buff that essentially allows you to test Nilou's mechanics. Yes, the upcoming characters' core mechanics can be tested right now in the Hyakunin Iki event, and for that purpose I'm going to use the Dendro Travel and Kokomi, which is now our sort of Nilou sort of stand-in, and it's going to be really beautiful, because an event like this can actually tell us in advance whether we are actually going to like Nilou or not. And let's say we did not pull for Nilou, at least we can have a good sense of how her mechanics works, so that when we get to a discussion or we want to discuss the character, we'll have some practical insights that we can give from in-game testing. Honestly, this has made me so happy when I saw this. I wanted to make an entirely different video, but this takes the cake. So right off the bat, let's immediately get into it. Here's Kokomi here of a Bountiful cause, and we can see that they explode like fairly quickly, and I mean we're getting quite a bit of damage just off of it. So from my perspective, I think the Kokomi Nilou sort of team comp with the Dendro Traveler and potentially Nehida when they come out will be super strong, because you have Kokomi, which is essentially the healer, the tank, and like the main driver of the team, which is like really awesome. And Kokomi adds in an additional layer of physical damage in addition to the hydro and the dendro damage. We've got 3 damage sources right there. You've got Kokomi and both Nilou being able to trigger the Bountiful cause in an AoE area via the jellyfish and Nilou's abilities, which is so awesome. And then obviously the Traveler giving us dendro application, and then a character like Nehida, which I cannot speak about at this moment, but yeah, she's going to play very nicely with her abilities and mechanics. So from my perspective, it's such a, I think it's going to be one of the strongest like little teams. Of course, like a big worry with a team like that is you don't have any grouping mechanics. So this is one of the potential problems a Nilou based team can have, is that because there's no animo unit to swirl the enemies or shred resistance, you actually would need Nilou herself to actually deliver a lot of additional damage via her Bountiful cause. So once she comes out, we can perhaps like have a discussion of whether the damage threshold is like good enough. But as far as I'm understanding, it's going to be the damage is going to be like quite there, and the only problem is like grouping. But once again, if you have a lot of enemies, and enemies in Genshin Impact tend to come towards the player, you can actually trigger your Bountiful cause on all of them, even though they might not be grouped up, which is like, as you can see here with the Travelers, like little AoE, and obviously with Kokomi being able to hit other characters at range. This is so great about Kokomi. You can trigger these Dendro cores, and you will hopefully be able to hit a lot more enemies. So in a certain sense, if you play properly, you can make up for, to a certain extent, of course, the lack of like grouping through animo units and so on. Certainly something that was very noticeable for me in the Spiral Abyss is how tightly closed, or like how closely packed a lot of the enemies were on the first half. And this is obviously done because they want to sort of like sell Nilou and her kit a bit later on. And of course then the second half favors a character like Sinnoh quite a lot because of the overseer matrix thingamabob that you need to like trigger electro reactions and stuff on. So yeah, very definitely the Spiral Abyss favoring those 2 units quite obviously. But it's just been so cool. So I'm very happy with the Bountiful core mechanic. It's going to be interesting. It really has made me consider to perhaps I get at least a C0 Nilou on my main account and so on. I think we might be able to do it on the alternative account, depending on whether I win the 50-50. Once again, you can save up for months and months, but Hoyo has to ruin the fun with a 50-50. This is unlike in Honkai Impact, where you get a straight up guarantee. So if you save as an F2P for long enough, you can get a character guaranteed and even build up fragments. But that's an entirely different discussion, so that's not what we're going to be interested in. But nonetheless, just getting back to topic, the Bountiful Dendro core mechanic is certainly very interesting, and once again it just shows you the flexibility of Kokomi that can also enable a team like that. A lot of people always say, oh yeah, just use Xiangling for this, but I think, you know, with Kokomi is actually starting to bring a lot more utility than a character like Xiangling that's always just tied to Bennett, and certainly this event has sort of made me kind of aware of it. So absolutely great. Alright guys, thank you for watching, and let me know what you think of the mechanic. Cheers.